Hello and welcome back to another video. Today's Wednesday, so this is Waffle on a Wednesday, where I answer your questions to the best of my ability. And for those of you that are new here, my name's Mel and I live full time in this Mercedes Sprinter camper van. And if you've got any questions for me, then I invite you to leave those questions in the comments section of this video, and I will do my best to answer those questions in next week's Waffle on a Wednesday. Now, before we go any further, I'd like to say a really sincere thank you to everybody that has brought stickers off me this week through Buy Me a Coffee. I really do appreciate your encouragement and your support, so thank you. Now, I've got some really good questions and comments to read out this week, so let's get straight into it and read out those comments and questions from last week's video. So our first comment today comes from a member of my channel, and that is Top Cat. Thank you, Top Cat, for being a member of my channel. And Top Cat leaves a comment about another YouTube channel. He goes on to say, I see Project Amber has decided to stop uploading, can no longer cope with the trolls and privacy invasions. He has 50k subs. Is it all about attitude? Stay safe, thumbs up. Well, Top Cat, I did actually watch CJ's video, and he does seem like he's under a lot of strain and a lot of pressure, and he does have quite a few issues, and you're absolutely right, it is all about mental attitude. And for me, I don't really mind the trolls. After all, when trolls leave comments on my videos, I make content about it, so I really don't mind getting trolling comments. Speaking of which, we've got a really good troll in the house this week. Quite a surprising one. I look forward to reading that out. Now, as far as privacy invasions are concerned, it does seem to me that CJ's had quite a few unpleasant experiences with people coming into his van. So I can fully understand his concerns over that. Lucky enough, I've never actually had that happen to me. But then again, that's one of the reasons I don't do meetups, because I don't want people coming into my van and poking around and looking in my cupboards. After all, this is my home, and although I do show it pretty much everything on YouTube, there are some things I do like to keep private. Thanks for the great comment, and once again thank you for being a member of my channel. I really do appreciate your support. Thank you. Now, this past weekend's video was all about my kitchen rebuild. I had lots of positive comments left on that video, so thank you to everyone that left those comments. I really do appreciate it. Also had some inquiries on that video, so let's take a quick look at some of those inquiries. Now, Susie Ward, among others, have asked this question: for how long can I use an induction hob on the Jackery? Well, my induction hob is fitted underneath my worktop here, and my Jackery is down underneath my bed. As for how long my Jackery will power this induction top, well, that's pretty impossible for me to answer. But I will say that this cooks so fast, I mean really quick, and uses hardly any power. I can pretty much guarantee you'd have to cook like a king's ransom to flatten your Jackery for sure. I'd be very surprised if I flattened my Jackery ever using it to power this induction hob. But saying that, some people have also pointed out that because this induction hob draws 1200 watts, I'm actually overloading my Jackery. I'm pushing it to its limits. I shouldn't be doing that, they say. And I thank you all for your concern, but I'm going to continue using my Jackery to power this induction hob, purely to put it through its paces and really give it a good testing. And I will most definitely let you know how I get on, even if it means destroying the Jackery. But we'll see, we will see how long my Jackery lasts if I use my induction hob on a daily basis. And I will give it a good couple of months before I report back to you, just to see how well my Jackery does fare powering this induction cooktop. Stay tuned and I will let you know. And that leads on to another question. And this comes from Steve Fran. Hi Mel, have you parked your bike yet? That's got nothing to do with the Jackery. That's completely off subject. Seriously, what induction hob have you got? I'm thinking of getting a Jackery or similar to do the same, but need some specs, please. Well, Steve, in light of the recent comments that I got on my last video when I was using my Jackery to power my induction top, I would suggest you don't actually use your Jackery to power an induction worktop, especially if it's drawing 1200 watts. Because like they say, it could actually damage your Jackery over a long period of time if you're continuously drawing that much power from it. But as far as the induction hob is concerned, this is manufactured by Leisure Wise, and I do have one of these in my Amazon storefront, which you will find in the description of this video. So if you're interested in anything you see in my camper van, you will actually find it in my Amazon storefront. And if you happen to buy anything through my Amazon storefront, the good news is it doesn't actually cost you any extra money, but I do make a tiny little bit of commission from Amazon for sending you their way. So once again, I'd like to say thank you for your support. I really do appreciate it. Now here's another question concerning my induction cooktop, but it's more to do with inverters. Very good question, and it comes from Legan Wheels. Hi Mel, do you know what size inverter would work with your model induction cooker if you use it on the 300 watt 120 degree setting, or what the smallest portable battery generator would work? Well, Legan, like I said just now, I don't recommend you actually use a battery pack to power this induction cooktop. But as far as the inverter is concerned, as a rule of thumb, if you've got, say, a 1000 watt appliance, you really should double up, so you need a 2000 watt inverter. And seeing as though when I experimented with this, the maximum it was drawing was 1200 watts, I would highly recommend getting a 3000 watt inverter to run this induction cooktop, because even though it's turned down to 300 watts, it still draws 1200 watts. And again, I don't quite understand the science behind this or why they say that. It is quite misleading, I do believe. But like I say, I'm still going to use my 1000 watt Jackery just to see how it fares. Wish me luck. And thanks for the great question. And another comment about my kitchen rebuild, and this comes from Jason Ainsley. Looks good, thank you Jason. I like the backsplash, only criticism is switch panel under the sink, not a great combination. Water source above electrical panel. Well Jason, I can assure you that my electrical panel is completely waterproof. I mean, it's even got a gasket all the way around the panel to make sure it's sealed against the panel that it's screwed against. Gee, that's a mouthful. But the switches themselves are waterproof. Let me just move the camera down and I'll show you. Here's my switch panel, and this switch panel is actually designed to be used on a boat, so it's completely waterproof. So a little bit of water getting splashed on there, no problem at all. But thank you for your concern. And yes, you can find this switch panel in my Amazon storefront. Thanks for the great question and your concern, I really appreciate it. Now Adrian Fry asked a question about my water filter, and he goes on to say, we fill our water tank with water from home or the campsite, but don't filter it before drinking from the tap. Obviously we boil it if we are making a cuppa. Why did you need to buy a bottled water or replace the new filter tap? Is it better we don't drink from the tank if it's not filtered? Hope you get what I mean. Kind regards, Adrian and Tracy. Well Adrian, I'd highly recommend you don't drink the water from your water tank, even if you do fill it up from home or a campsite. Simple reason being that when water sits still for a very long period of time, bacteria builds up. And I actually had a really nasty experience with freshwater tank in a camper van. After I returned from a trip from Australia, I'd take my camper van out of storage. When I went to replenish the water supply, I pulled out the submersible hippo pump, and on that pump and on the pipe that was dangling in the water was all this slimy, snotty stuff, and it just looked like mucus hanging from the water pump. It was like something out of the film Alien. It was disgusting, and for that reason I don't drink water out of my fresh water tank, because like I said earlier, if water stands still for a long period of time, bacteria does tend to grow inside your tank. And I have to say, since fitting the water filter to my tank, I have actually been drinking the water from my tank using that water filter, because I can't even taste the chlorine that I put in there. Every time I fill my tank up, I put 2 tablets of chlorine in it, and I can't taste the chlorine, and that gives me the confidence to actually drink the water once it's been through that filter. And the more I use it, the more I wish I'd have fitted one sooner. They are fantastic, and I do highly recommend those water filters to anyone that's building out a camper van. And if that's something you're interested in, then do check out TRIFLOW water systems, and I will leave a link to their website in the comment section of this video. And no, I'm not sponsored by them. I'm just really impressed with their product. Thanks for the great question. Don't drink the water out your water tank. Unless you've got a TRIFLOW filter fitted, of course. Okay, enough about my cooktop. Let's have this week's Troll of the Week.
troll of the week.
Now, this week's trolling comment wasn't actually left on my channel, it was actually left on Rebecca's channel, but it's so nasty I'm going to read it out anyway. And this comment was left by Watches by Design. I think I've actually blocked them from my channel, but if you're watching this, then please do leave a comment, because I'd love to hear from you. No malice intended. They left a comment when Rebecca was trying to sell her van, and they say, no lithium, no Victron, the gold taps, horrible mattress, old-fashioned lead acid batteries, white interior, no thought gone into this. How many times have you tried to sell it, and why do you say to people, as long as it leaves, I'm not responsible? You're basically saying to people it's going to break down, not good. And then Rebecca politely told them to go do one. And then they left another comment, laugh out loud, thank you for swearing, now I'm going to report you to eBay for using foul language which is against eBay policies. I won't read out what Rebecca says, I'll just show you. She politely gave him the middle finger basically, and rightly so too. Well, Watches by Design, I'm pleased to say that Rebecca has actually sold her van, and she sold it to a really lovely couple who are actually over the moon with her van. They are more than pleased with it. So all I can say to you, my old fella, is the same as Rebecca. And if you haven't seen Rebecca's YouTube channel, it's called The Sacred Traveller. And Rebecca is currently looking for a smaller van to convert into a camper. So if you're interested in converting a micro camper van, then do check out Rebecca's channel, because hopefully very soon she will be getting a new van and we will start building out her new camper van. Fingers crossed. I will leave a link to Rebecca's channel at the end of this video, just like I do in all my videos. I thank you in advance. Now, can you run your diesel heater while driving, or would it be unsafe to do so? Are they really only suitable for when stationary? And that comes from the real Simpsons. Well, I have to admit I've actually used my diesel heater whilst I've been driving my van. Not deliberately, but purely by mistake, because since I fitted that silent diesel pump, I actually forget that my diesel heater is on, and I sometimes drive off with it running. And so far, touch wood, I've had no issues. So I'd probably say, yeah, it's okay to drive your van with your diesel heater running, but you do so at your own risk. But saying that, I do have to say it is quite nice to get out of the driver's seat and come into the back area on a cold day and find it nice and warm and cosy. It's quite nice. But like I say, do so at your own risk. I'm sure it will be perfectly fine. Now, I know you like the outdoors, but what, if any, in-van entertainment do you have if you have to pass the time on a rainy day? And that comes from Sunshine Mix. Well, I've got to say, when it's raining, just like it is today, I usually make a video or I edit a video. And if I'm not busy doing that, then I normally, sometimes, occasionally, pick up my guitar and entertain myself. And when my fingers get sore, I simply do what everyone else does and watch a little bit of TV. Just like anybody else would if they lived in a normal house. It's no different to living inside a van. Thanks for the great question. Hi Mel, quick question for the second time. Not really demanding then. Hi Mel, quick question for the second time. I asked you a few weeks ago. I do apologise, I didn't answer your question a few weeks ago. When not on someone's driveway, where do you empty your toilet? I only ask because I don't know if any place that would allow you to do that if you're not on a campsite. Hope you can answer this week. Help me out. Regards and thanks for all your videos. And that comes from Tempest Fatigue 64. And the simple answer to that question is, I've got a cassette toilet. It's a very small one, it's a little porta potty, and I chose the smallest one I could possibly find because that cassette actually fits inside a reusable carrier bag. So when my toilet gets full, then I simply pop that into a carrier bag, walk into any McDonald's and empty my toilet. And when I leave McDonald's, and by the way, I don't leave a smell or a mess, I always make sure that it's nice and clean when I leave. I usually go up to the counter and buy a coffee as a way of saying thank you. And if there's no McDonald's around, I simply use a public toilet. And because my cassette is so tiny and I can fit it inside a carrier bag, I can pretty much use any toilet anywhere. I've never actually walked into a pub with it though, I have to admit. I think you'd have to be pretty brave to do that. But anyway, there you go. I hope that answers your question. Please return the favour by giving this video a thumbs up. And if you are new here, then please do consider subscribing, and I'll see you very soon. Thanks for watching. Ta-da for now.